Life is such a beautiful thing. Beautiful green grass and bright blue skies. But something's lurking over it all. Factories, power stations, nuclear energy, gas emissions, oil, fuel, flames, burning, destruction, death, impossible, very possible, extinction. All at a rate that's comparable to a runaway freight train. What am I talking about? Probably the biggest problem this world has ever faced. Global warming is sadly a very controversial topic. Is it real or is it not?
And you don't know whether or not that would have happened with or without man. You don't know.
Well, you're scientists at
No,
NOAA
We hear it so much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Climate change is a real and serious issue.
If people didn't waste their time debating, we could spend it on finding a solution as gigantic as the problem itself. This brings me to the first of 4 questions I'm going to answer. What is this problem anyway? Global warming is the term scientists use to describe the rapid increase in the temperature of the globe. According to NASA's 134-year record, 15 of the hottest years we've ever experienced have come since the year 2000. That shows us that the problem isn't going away or calming down anytime soon. The National Resources Defense Council, NRDC for short, describes global warming as occurring when carbon dioxide and other air pollutants and greenhouse gases collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. Normally, this radiation would escape into space, but these pollutants, which can last for years to centuries in the atmosphere, trap the heat and cause the planet to get hotter and hotter. That's what's known as the greenhouse effect. In simpler terms, the Earth is an oven, preheating to a temperature so hot it could wipe out humanity in the not too distant future. The second question is, how does global warming affect us? You've probably heard that global warming causes the glaciers to melt and in turn causes the sea levels to rise. But it does a lot more damage than just that. And I'm going to throw it to Kayler for this segment.
Thanks, Carson. To help us answer that question, I talked to a marine biologist, more specifically, a sea turtle biologist.
I work in the conservation area of science, specifically with doing sea turtle rehabilitation. What we are starting to see in nesting sites in southern Florida is that they are producing almost all female nests. When a sea turtle lays a nest, the eggs within that nest, dependent on where those eggs fall within that nest, will ultimately determine if they're male or female, because it's determined by the temperature of that nest. If it's a hotter temperature, it's going to produce mainly females. If it's a cooler temperature, it's going to produce males. Because of climate change, the temperatures of the beaches are just getting incredibly hot. So we're seeing mainly female, predominantly female nests. And that's going to be a conservation issue in the future because there's not going to be any males to help reproduce the population. There is a disease that's pretty prominent in green sea turtles called FP, or fibropapillomatosis. And it's a disease that is caused by a virus, a herpes virus, and it causes these very large tumors to grow outside of their body. It can grow on their eyes, their soft tissue, their flippers, and even internally in their organs and things like that as well. And we really had not documented a case of FP in South Carolina until about 2014. And now we're seeing about 1 to 2 cases every year. And that virus, as the ocean temperatures warm up, it thrives in warm water.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that play in the sea turtle world, and there's things that we're still figuring out the answer to. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have time for.
I
Thank
hope
you.
I answered all your questions.
No,
Yeah.
you did. Thank you very much. That was really informative.
In addition to the problems it causes for our wildlife, climate change can also lead to extreme weather on both ends of the spectrum, like the snowstorm we saw in Texas recently or any recent hurricane. Back to you, Carson.
Thank you, Kayler. Now we're going to answer what causes global warming. There are several ways toxic gas can escape into the atmosphere. The number one emitter of greenhouse gases in the United States is the burning of fossil fuels, things such as coal, petroleum, natural gas, and or emotion. The second biggest emitter in the US is transportation, which generates somewhere in the ballpark of 1.7 billion tons of CO2 emissions a year. That's a lot. This brings us to our last question. An energy-saving car like the electric car Tesla doesn't have any direct emissions. The only indirect emissions it has is the electricity to charge the battery. Even though it is not emissions-free, it still serves better than a gasoline-burning car. This specific 2017 Model X 75D has a full battery charge of 227 miles. Alright, so how else can we help?
Well, supporting the use of reusable energy sources like solar and wind can help a lot. Actually, you can get solar panels installed in your house. It'll help the environment and your electric bill.
Right, and if you don't have the money to install solar panels, you can actually hire a utility company that generates half its power from solar and wind. But a lot of what you can do is just around the house. Save water.
Turn off the lights in a room.
Unplug products that are not in use.
Replace any incandescent lights in your home with LED lights. They use up to 85% less energy and last for 25 times longer.
And as we covered before, switching to an electric or hybrid vehicle can really impact the environment in a great way.
Even getting a tune-up on your gas-burning car can help because it increases the vehicle's miles per gallon up to 40%. If every American did this, we could save up to 1.2 billion gallons of gas each year alone.
Just simple good deeds can help an incredible amount. Plus, it feels good to do good.
Yes, it does. Let's go over what we learned. Global warming is the Earth's biggest problem. It is caused by the release of harmful toxins into our air.
Which harms all life on this planet.
These toxins are released into the air from the mining and burning of fossil fuels.
Which are bad. Although they are alternatives, as we discussed earlier, solar and wind are great options.
Totally. Conserving energy can help a lot too.
If you want to learn more about this issue, go to nrdc.org. I'm Carson White.
And I'm Kayler Catron.
Signing off.